Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we're digging into source materials on a really pivotal mission for the Grim Shadows. We're talking about the raid on the Arcus Foundry. This wasn't just, smashing some equipment. It was a strike right at the core of the Silver Veil's war effort.
Absolutely. And the sources really paint a picture of how much was riding on this. Think this massive industrial zone, almost a fortress, really. All iron and stone. You've got these huge smokestacks just belching out smoke constantly. And the noise, it's described as a symphony of industry, but, the deafening kind. Hammers, grinders, molten metal hissing, just relentless.
Right, and that setting is so key, isn't it? It really sets the mood. This oppressive feeling like the heat itself is alive, breathing down your neck.
Yeah.
And the smell, burning metal, oil, and the sources mentioned death, a grim undertone right from the start.
And that whole oppressive vibe, it directly reflects how vital this foundry was. This wasn't just any old factory. It was the main hub churning out their heavy gear, specifically these heavy crates packed with AEDs.
Okay, let's pause there for anyone maybe less familiar with Silver Veil tech. AEDs, what are we talking about exactly?
Great. AEDs stands for Arcane Energy Drives. Basically, they're the standardized power cores for all their big stuff. Siege engines, heavy tanks, those massive defensive shields they use. So if the Grim Shadows manage to wreck this place, well, it's not just a win. It's like cutting the Silver Veil off at the knees. Their heavy hitters would be grounded instantly.
So yeah, a mission that could genuinely shift the balance of the whole conflict. But things go sideways almost immediately.
Yeah.
Starfaller, he's the leader, the Shadow Guy, and Lyra, the close combat expert, they approach and spot something wrong with security. There's this figure, not a standard soldier, watching the forge really intently.
Yeah, exactly. They were expecting the usual Iron Fang troops, maybe more of them. But this guy, he stood out. Lyra sees him first, I think. But the second Starfaller gets a look. Well, the whole mission profile just flips from tough to, maybe we don't survive this.
Okay, let's unpack this. Who is this mystery enforcer? Why does his presence basically send shockwaves through Starfaller and the team?
Starfaller knows him instantly, calls him the Houndmaster.
Mm-hmm.
And that name alone, you can feel the dread ripple through the group in the reports. Especially Saren, she's their main magic user, the ward specialist. She reacts strongly. This Houndmaster, he's a dwarf. An outcast, actually, from the Mountains of Pain, which says something already.
An outcast.
Yeah.
And not for, stealing or betrayal.
Yeah.
But the reason's much darker. Something about his experiments.
Oh, yeah. Deeply unsettling stuff. His obsession was this twisted form of dark alchemy. He wasn't trying to make gold or healing potions. He wanted to evolve dwarves, his word, by warping flesh with corrupted magic. We're talking infusing bodies with raw metal alloys, replacing blood with, well, the sources call it something unnatural. Think liquid shadow mixed with toxic chemicals. He weaponized biology itself.
Wow. Okay, I have to jump in here. Analytically speaking, why would the Silver Veil, this regimented industrial power obsessed with standardization, why hire a monster like this? Yeah. A chaotic element.
That's the million credit question, isn't it? And it tells you so much. It suggests their standard defenses, their engineers, their regular troops, they're not cutting it. They must be genuinely, utterly desperate to ditch their whole philosophy of order and rely on something so unpredictable, so vile. Bringing in the Houndmaster means they're willing to throw everything, even their own supposed morals, into defending this foundry. It's a panic move.
A huge tell.
Okay.
And this Houndmaster, he didn't show up solo. He brought his ladies, as the source puts it, his devil hounds, which leads right into the first major clash.
Right. And these aren't just, big angry dogs. They're abominations, creatures he literally remade through his dark alchemy. The descriptions are intense, hulking beasts over 6 feet tall at the shoulder, covered in this shadow black fur that just seems to drink the light.
And eyes, glowing green. That detail always stuck with me. Unnatural.
Totally unnatural. And the tactical note here is crucial. Their saliva was venomous. It sizzled on contact with metal. But more than that, they fought smart. Pack tactics. They split up deliberately, trying to funnel the Grim Shadows into a kill zone in the foundry. These weren't mindless monsters. They were coordinated weapons.
Let's break down who they faced, because these hounds really pushed the Grim Shadows to their absolute limit.
Okay, yeah. 3 main attackers stand out in the reports. First, Fenra. She was the biggest, the brute. Went straight for Saren, the mage. Fenra hit so hard she actually cracked Saren's energy shield, that shimmering violet ward she uses. Saren had to pour power into just holding her ground.
Then there was Skathis, the Shadow Hound. Sounds nasty.
Nasty is an understatement. This one used darkness like a cloak. It would phase in and out, attacking with incredible speed. Scathis was ripping through the supporting Iron Fang soldiers until Saren, using pretty much her last bit of juice, blasted the area with these radiant light orbs. Blinding flash, even disoriented Starfaller for a second. But it hit Scathis hard. Being a shadow creature made it recoil in pain. That gave Lyra the opening she needed for the kill shot.
And the third one, Vikra.
Vikra, the patient hunter. While Fenrir was charging and Scathis was flitting around, Vikra circled Starfaller, studied him, waited for an opening in his shadow-based fighting style, then made a calculated lunge, and she connected, sank her fangs right into Starfaller's forearm, pumped him full of that paralyzing venom described as white-hot agony.
Right, and this is the turning point, isn't it? Where the external threat ignites something internal, something terrifying in Starfaller. His first reaction isn't just pain, though the sources say it was excruciating. Instead, something else awakens. This dark hunger stirred.
Exactly. He feels this rush of power strong enough to fight the paralysis, but it's mixed with this gnawing emptiness, like starvation. And his eyes, they change. Silver, but blazing with this intense, unnatural light pulsing. The Eye of Shadows is waking up.
Okay, hold on. Let's quickly pin down the Eye of Shadows for listeners.
Yeah.
Because it's Starfaller's biggest weapon, but also his biggest liability, right?
Precisely. It's this ancient, unstable power he somehow inherited. It lets him control shadows, manipulate darkness. Awesome power. But it seems to work like a parasite. Or maybe a predator. It needs to feed, usually through conflict, sometimes by, well, draining life force. It's not his power, it's just in him. And that venom, it just violently kicked it into gear.
Which leads to the first blackout.
Yeah.
And it's chilling because he starts speaking in his deep, guttural voice, a language nobody recognizes, not even him later. And the way he finishes off Vikra, it's horrifying. No weapon needed.
No. He just grabs her throat with his bare hands, which are now glowing with this silvery energy, drains her life force directly, and then, with this awful deliberation, he twists her neck. The sources explicitly state he was smiling as he did it, looking right into the dying hound's eyes.
The sound of the snap. Apparently everyone heard it, even over the fighting. And the reaction from his team, pure shock.
Total shock. Lyra's quoted directly. What the hell was that? Saren's equally stunned, but she notices something physical. Instead of blood coming from the fang marks on Starfaller's arm, it's black smoke leaking out.
Ugh. And Starfaller himself only comes back to reality when Saren shouts his name, right? He feels the pain fading fast, the eyes already consuming the venom, but then it hits him. He blacked out. Again, he knows instantly this tower surge isn't something he can control. And the source mentions he makes a mental note. He has to talk to Black Flame about this. Urgently.
But there's no time to process. The fight's not done. The Houndmaster sees his hounds fall, especially Vikra, and he just loses it. Pure, uncontrolled rage. Grief turns instantly into this primal need to escalate things beyond reason.
And that's when he pulls out the vial. Glowing green. His own special brew, I assume.
His ultimate concoction, yeah. He downs it. And the transformation described.
Yeah.
It's just gruesome, violent spasms rack his body, black veins bulge out everywhere. You hear bones cracking as they reshape themselves. Fur sprouts across his skin, his jaw stretches out. He becomes this monstrous hybrid, part dwarf, part hound. The very evolution he was obsessed with creating, now forced onto himself in a moment of fury.
So the alchemy turns him into this raging berserker. Probably immune to pain at this point. And his weapons change, too.
Completely immune, yeah. And his chains, which were just heavy metal before, suddenly erupt in flames. He's wielding these things described as giant flaming meat hooks. And he just starts wrecking shop, crushes Crimson Hound soldiers, Iron Fang warriors. Anyone who gets close is just obliterated instantly. And his resilience is off the charts. Saren teams up with another mage. They hit him with everything, an ice spear, a massive firewall. He just walks through it, roars at them. Dwarves resist magic, you stupid bastards. So the alchemy didn't just make him strong, it amplified his natural dwarven magic resistance. He's a walking anti-magic tank now.
Which inevitably leads to the big showdown, the Hellmaster's Fire versus Starfaller's Shadow, Chain versus Chain.
Yeah, shadow versus fire, it's chaos. Pure entropy clashing. Starfaller seems to have a slight edge in speed, using his shadow chains to whip around the Houndmaster's heavier, fiery ones. But then the Houndmaster pulls a clever, desperate move, a flashbang grenade. The intense light disrupts Starfaller's shadow control, banishes his chains for a critical second, leaves him wide open. And the Houndmaster doesn't hesitate, lands a savage beating. Fist cracks into ribs, knee slams into his gut. Starfaller goes down, hard, dizzy, disoriented.
And that's trigger number 2, the second blackout, even worse than the first. Starfaller tries to get up, but the world just vanishes. He's moving purely on instinct. The source says his vision is just a veil of red.
Hmm.
And he's driven by that same feeling from before, that irresistible hunger.
Yeah, this time it's completely feral. No thought, no strategy, just primal need. He lunges. There's this deep animal snarl. He bypasses the flaming chain somehow, maybe using shadow instinctively for defense, gets his hands on the Houndmaster's throat,
Hmm.
and then the source uses the word grotesque, a snap. But it's not the neck this time. He tears the Houndmaster's entire left arm clean off at the shoulder.
Just rips it off.
Yeah.
And the key detail here, the one that tells you everything about how terrifying Starfaller became in that moment,
Hmm.
is the Houndmaster's reaction. This monster, who laughed at magic, shrugged off pain.
Mm.
He screams. But it's not rage this time. It's fear. Real abject terror.
Exactly. Starfaller's uncontrolled primal state was something even the Houndmaster, a creator of monsters, couldn't comprehend or face. It utterly broke his nerve. He realizes he's fighting something far worse than himself. He manages to trigger another flash vial, this time just enough of a diversion to scramble away, leaving his severed arm behind.
So the Grim Shadows win. The Foundry objective is achieved. But Starfaller, he collapses, shaking, feeling that lingering hunger still resonating inside him. Khan, one of the veteran soldiers, just confirms it flatly. He blacked out, and the final line in that section of the report is chilling. After all that violence, after securing the objective, none of them spoke. Just silence.
Right. So if we connect this to the bigger picture, mission accomplished, technically. The Arcist Foundry is crippled. The Silver Veil's heavy war machine just took a massive hit. But the cost? Wow. For Starfaller personally, it's immense. 2 blackouts, unleashing this power he can't control, rooted in that dark hunger. There's a physical toll, sure, but the moral compromise is huge. The enemies hurt, yes, but they got away. And Starfaller is left with this dangerous secret, something that could fundamentally change him and the Grim Shadows.
And the relevance for you listening to this, it's really stark in this account, isn't it? That brutal trade-off. Needing to win, needing absolute victory for the greater good, but having to embrace something monstrous within yourself to get the power needed for that win. Starfaller did what needed to be done, but he lost a part of himself doing it.
And think about the implication. Starfaller's effectiveness, his victories now, seem dependent on him losing control to this dark hunger. The source notes he felt physically better, stronger than ever after the blackouts, but also hollow, starving for more of that power. So if this savagery, this loss of self, is what's required to truly beat the Silver Veil, what's the next price? What future horrific act will finally satisfy that hunger and consume him completely?